Welcome to Dolphin Speak. My name is Kyrie, and I'm one of your hosts. With me is my co-host, Riley.
What?
Dolphin Speak is a web series for kids that lets you learn about whales and dolphins from the pros who study them.
This week we will be speaking to dolphin scientist Dr. Jason Bruck of the University of St. Andrews to find out just what makes an animal a marine mammal.
And I will finally get the answer to a question that has been bugging me. Why an orca is called a killer whale even though it's a dolphin.
Hey Kyrie, what makes a mammal a mammal?
Well, most mammals have live-born babies, nurse their young, are warm-blooded, and have fur.
Wait a sec, a dolphin doesn't have fur. It can't be a mammal.
That's a very good question. Let's ask Dr. Jason Bruck. Welcome, Dr. Bruck, to Dolphin Speak.
Hi, you can call me Jason.
Okay.
So, I hear you have some questions for me.
Yeah. Is it all right if I ask a few?
Of course.
My first one is, which animals are considered a marine mammal?
Okay. Marine mammals are actually a bigger group than you might think. So it includes not just whales and dolphins and porpoises, but it also includes seals, walruses, polar bears, sea otters, manatees, dugongs, a lot of different species. So anytime a mammal spends enough time in the ocean, we start to call it a marine mammal. Okay, so to give you an idea about the differences here, I've brought some skulls. So this right here, if you notice, this is the skull of what we would call a cetacean. Specifically, this is from a porpoise.
What's a porpoise?
A porpoise it's like a dolphin. It looks a lot like a dolphin, but it's actually not a dolphin. It's a type of whale with sharp teeth. So they'll have really sharp, kind of like razor-like teeth, and they're usually a lot smaller than dolphins. Just to give you an idea about the size difference, so this is the size of an adult's head. This is the dolphin you might be more familiar with. This is a bottlenose dolphin, and its head is much bigger because dolphins are usually a lot bigger. Okay, and it has cone-shaped teeth. That's how you can tell the difference between a porpoise and a dolphin.
Like the teeth that Riley was wearing on the mask earlier?
Yeah, that's right. Now, this here is the baleen of some of the biggest whales. We call them, the fancy term is mysticetes, but we call them the baleen whales. And instead of having sharp teeth, they have this hair-like stuff. And what happens is all the food that they eat gets stuck in here. So they'll push with their tongue, they'll push all that water out, and they'll have little zooplankton stuck in their teeth, stuck in their hair teeth like this. And once that's all stuck in there, they just swallow it up. So the biggest animals in the world, like the blue whale, which can be 113 feet, which is, like in meters, that's, I think that's like 30-something meters. That's huge, right? And you know what? They eat the smallest of all prey.
I was told that they're the biggest animal in the world.
They're not only the biggest animal in the world, the blue whale, they're the biggest animal that has ever existed on the planet.
Oh, and
Okay.
my second question is, so marine mammals, do they have to stay in the water all the time?
No, they do not. So this right here, these are the skulls of seals. This is a skull of a harbor seal, okay, which is a pinniped.
What's a pinniped?
Pinnipeds are seals, sea lions, and walruses. So you remember walruses with the big tusks, big
Yeah.
teeth in the front? Those are all pinnipeds. Now pinnipeds do not spend all of their time in the water. They hunt in the water. and they're usually pretty clumsy on land. But they don't spend all of their time in the water, just a lot of it. Now, when they're tired, what they'll do is they kind of, we call it hauling out. They take their fat little bellies and roll them up onto this rock, and then they just kind of go to sleep.
And also, my third question is, I thought to be mammals and animals had to have fur. Where is the fur on a dolphin?
That's a good question. Actually, on a grown-up dolphin, there really isn't any fur.
Then how is it a mammal?
Because when it's born, it has a little bit of fur. They have a little mustache, a little bit of hair right down there. And they're little, and you can sometimes, if you look at a dolphin really close, sometimes what you'll see is you'll see little, it looks like they have little pimples going up their rostrum, which is like their nose, this area. So the little hairs will be kind of right around here and right around there on the dolphin. And that way you can see that it is still a mammal. They just lose that hair before they're about 2 or 3 days old.
And are dolphins warm-blooded?
They are warm-blooded. They're not fish. Fish, we have a fancy word for what fish are. Fish are what we call poikilothermic, which basically just means they're whatever temperature the water around them is. So if they're tropical fish, they're in warm water, they'll be warm, their blood will be warm. But it won't be because their bodies made the blood warm. The dolphins have warm blood because their bodies actually generate the energy through the food that they eat, just like we do. That's why they're mammals and not fish. Okay, now I hear you have a burning question, a really important question.
Yeah. Okay, if a killer whale is a dolphin, why do they call it a whale?
Okay, now the reason the killer whale got the name killer whale is because of a Spanish translation of the word. Basically it meant whale assassin. What it was is the fishermen had gone out into the ocean and had seen the killer whales hunting big blue whales and other mysticetes. Remember the baleen whales? Remember these guys? So what they would do is they'd watch the killer whales work together to hunt and kill these big blue whales and these big mysticetes, these big baleen whales. And all of a sudden, they would call them the whale assassins, the whale killers. And over time, the translation kind of got mixed around till they called it killer whale.
But if you were to have a whole herd of killer whales, that wouldn't match up to the same size as a blue whale. Or
That's right. Well, here's what happens. The killer whales are smart. They work as a team. So even though you can add up an entire pod, a pod is the family of killer whales, then they don't even come close to equaling the weight of the blue whale. What happens is the killer whales will go and they'll bite onto the fins of the blue whale and weigh down that blue whale. Make it so that the blue whale's really heavy in the water and slow them down. And they'll do this over days and days. In fact, if the killer whales have babies, what you'll see some killer whales in there hunting the blue whale, and then other killer whales taking care of the babies, and then they'll actually switch jobs when they get tired, and someone else will take care of the babies, and that one goes over and starts to hunt.
So basically like babysitters.
That's right, like babysitters. And so this will go on for days where they're trying to hunt down this blue whale, and they're trying to weigh him down until eventually the blue whale gets so tired that it just finally sinks to the bottom, and then the killer whales will eat. And it's nature. Everybody's got to eat.
Thank you for that.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, it's been a pleasure.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on Dolphin Speak. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
I had no idea that killer whales got their name because they hunt other whales.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm not on the menu.
And with that charming thought, see you next time on Dolphin Speak.